Hey, kids and grown-ups and other human beings, spiritual beings, orbs, God, Jesus, in Jesus' almighty name. I'm here today to tell y'all a true story. True means it really happened in real life outside of your cell phone screens, and it's a real thing at this place called Spring Lake in San Marcos, Texas. This is a representation of night heron, and the waterfowl here that is on up and down the rivers in central Texas down to the Gulf, and probably up and down the Gulf of Mexico. There's also a great blue heron, but that one's a little bit different. This is not exactly the way that the pattern of the colors is laid out, but it's kind of an artistic rendering of it. And they have these cool little white feathers that go on the back of their head, like that. When they're resting or just chilling out, they put up their feathers, and there's families of them right here on the Guadalupe River where I live. And down here in the corner of the painting, there's a couple. The Springs is a very romantic kind of place. If you've ever been there, it's it's a great place to take a stroll, sit by the lake, watch the fish and beautiful clear water. There used to be, back in a long time before European settlers, conquistadors arrived, and there was water literally gushed up out of the spring, of course. And then they had the mermaid show when they built this cheesy ass Ocarina Springs stuff back in, I don't know, whenever they did that. Looks like the 50s or 60s. Thankfully, got enough public support to tear all that out of the spring in 2011. Now today is October 28th, 2011. Now this is something that really happened on October 28th, 2011. There was a huge gathering beside this lake in San Marcos here. And if this was a photograph, this would be like the university over there, Texas State University in San Marcos, Texas. It used to be Southwest, but and then before that, in 2005, August, we had Mr. Dr. Kalaman. Carl Kalaman wrote several books on the Maya calendar, and Miss Annette Karlstrom came from Sweden, and she was doing this wonderful Diksha blessing, light blessings. And Dr. Kalaman had written a book in the early 2000, published 2001, I think. I first saw it in 2001, like a week after the 9/11 event. It all ties together. This is amazing how it all ties together. And I read this book, and it talked about October 28th, 2011, but it was like written 10 years before that, published at least. And then Dr. Kalaman explains how October 28th, 2011, on the Maya calendar, is named 13 Sun. On the painting, I have a 13 over here, and then some other fictional numbers I'll talk about in a minute. And then a sun, 9 Sun over here, which is Christ consciousness energy with the number 9. It starts out here with the number 13. And all over the world, people heard the call from the Waitaha grandmothers from New Zealand. I mean, all these names, but they all come together because they all have their little part to play in my story. So Dr. Kalaman predicted this. I read the book and met Ian Lungold of Mayan Magics in Sedona, and studied as much as I could about the Maya calendar from books. And of course, the books are very limited in their publishable perspectives. There's a couple of spiritual books that kind of slipped through, but it's very technical, archaeological, anthropological stuff back in the day. And they talked about the mechanics and numbers of the calendar, never what it meant. So Dr. Kalaman said that this was the real end of the calendar on October 28th, 2011. Most people like to refer to December 21st, 2012, which is a popularized Aztec calendar and date. And other Mayan scholars stick with that, December 21st. Some say December 23rd, if you're a real Mayan scholar. Hang on a second here. It's kind of windy outside today. Today is 13 Reed. Okay, so see this day, 13 Ahau, actually happened this Gregorian calendar month of October 21st. It's October 15th, 2021. I get tongue-tied to this sometimes. No fear. No fear. We're going to make it through this class. Class! No, I see you trying to sleep and change the channel. No. You can watch that Beyonce video. I don't know. What are y'all watching? I don't know the names of these young kids watch it today, but don't change because there's more to the story. honeytaco.com is my website, and I'll post this on the blog. So if you only get through the first few minutes of it, I understand. You can watch it later on my blog post for 13 Read. But I'm talking about another day, 13 Ahau, and I'm going to read you something. Read something right now. Get it? Read. This is a book of Chumayel. This is the Jaguar prophecies of a town in the Yucatan called Chumayel. Every town had their own book, but this was one of the few that was actually transcribed into Spanish before all the other books got burned. So I'm going to sit down for this, if y'all don't mind. Okay. Gonna go ahead and make a part 2. So I have to upload this video and then you watch it and come back for part 2. All right, so I'm gonna get up and press the button.